Hello, welcome to this session of Code Rage 10. My name is Girish Patil and I work at Gnostice. In this session, we'll get to see what's new in the XtremeDocumentStudio framework for working with PDF and Office documents. As we go through the demos, we'll look into the specifics of their implementation so we can get to know a bit about using the products. Here's our agenda for this session, and it's really simple. We get to the demos and the real code after a brief introduction to the company and the product. Once done with the demos, we'll take a look at the roadmap and other product information, and finally open out for live Q&A. Gnostice was incorporated some 13 years ago. Our focus from the start has been to create components for Delphi and other programming platforms. The specific area we focus on is to provide you with components to work with document formats such as PDF and Office documents. That is our mission, to make it easy for you to work with documents and implement document processing functionality in your applications. And more, as we are seeing, we are fulfilling our mission with XtremeDocumentStudio, which is a complete document processing solution for developers. XtremeDocumentStudio is our main focus now, and this product will have all the functionality that one needs to get work done with documents. So what is XtremeDocumentStudio? XtremeDocumentStudio is an integrated library of components to help you build applications that consume and/or produce documents. For example, to view, print, or convert documents in your applications, to export reports to electronic formats, to import documents into a report, or edit and create documents from scratch, and so on. The really nice and unique approach in XtremeDocumentStudio is that you use a single library to work with all the document formats. Also, it's a framework and not just a product, which means even you can extend it, for example, to have support for your own proprietary document format. That's at the higher level. An example of extensibility at the micro level would be to provide your own custom implementation for some tools in the document viewer, maybe, or custom rendering for annotations. All this is possible in XtremeDocumentStudio. Our approach is to enable you to get work done using fewer and fewer components and writing minimal code if at all you have to. And of course, we care a lot about providing you a clean, structured API when you need to write code. Here's how the modular layering of XtremeDocumentStudio is. And for example, if you needed support for a custom format, you would implement your new document engine by implementing the appropriate interface for document engines, and then register it into the system. After doing that, your new format is automatically viewable in the viewer and can be printed and converted, and other tasks can be performed on it. Okay, what are some of the functionalities and features that XtremeDocumentStudio enables you to implement in your applications today? Here are some. To view documents, it includes a document viewer component, and it's just one viewer component to view all supported formats, whether it's a PDF or the Word formats or images. We recently added support for the doc binary format of Word, and we are almost done with support for RTF. I'll show the doc file rendering in a few moments. Then, if you need to print documents, you have a document printer, then a document converter, and a database document viewer that can read documents stored inside blob fields and show them. The document viewer is aware of PDF forms as well, so you can interactively fill forms. Not only that, you can connect the PDF form fields to database fields and use the PDF form as your template for data entry to capture user input directly into your database. You can also import data from filled PDF forms into a database as a batch operation. And then we now have some of the functionalities of our eDoc engine product implemented in XtremeDocumentStudio. That is the ability to convert reports to various formats, including PDF and PDFA and the Office formats. Let me show you a quick demo of some of the relatively new features of XtremeDocumentStudio before we move on to the main demos. So let's switch to the IDE. I have the document viewer open. Let me run it. And we will load some documents. And this time, let's load some doc files. So these are doc binary files, and now they're supported as well in the document viewer. Okay, that's one of the new features. And then let's look at the interactive form filling feature of the document viewer. So first, I have a database here that has some records, and we will see how we can link up the database to this PDF form. So let me first show you the PDF form template. This is the PDF form template, so it has no data in it. And we are going to use this as our template to add and view records into the database. So select our PDF form template, and as we browse through the records, we can see the records changing in the form template. And the other feature that is new is the ability to import filled forms into the database. So I have some filled forms here. I'm going to select them, and then we will import them into our database. And the data is imported. Now, if we go back to the view, we can see the new records in the database and also view them in our form template. Okay, how does the code for this look? Let's see. The document viewer has a field data source property which we set to our table or data set that holds the fields which the data needs to go into. And then we map the PDF form fields to the database fields using the fields mapping property. And how does the data extractor work? So we have a helper class called the document data extractor. We create an instance of it and set it up the same way as we set up the document viewer. Okay, and then the other new feature is the ability to export reports. So let me run this first, and then we can look at the code. So if we run the report and then preview it, we can see the option for saving to PDF in the preview. So let's invoke that and just choose an output file name. And we can see the report exported to PDF. And what's to be observed here is the quality of the output. So this report contained rich text, objects, and a chart object. So the rich text objects are all exported with their text contents as text, and the chart as well is exported as vector drawings. Let's look at how we enable exporting of reports from the preview using XtremeDocumentStudio's components. So let me open the main form, and let me also show you the component palette so you know what components are there. So to enable exporting of reports, we just need to drop the appropriate report export component on the report form and then set just a few properties. In this case, we need to set the visible formats property on the report export component to the formats we want to allow exporting to in the preview. So in this case, only PDF is enabled, and that's why we saw just PDF appear in the preview. And then we can customize the output by setting the encoder settings properties. And to get PDF-A output, we choose through the PDF version property. Okay, let's get back to the slides and see what else we have. So I've only shown you some of the new features here, but if you want to see a complete demo of the viewing, printing, and conversion capability, please have a look at our Code Rage 9 presentation recording. Okay, it's time to see our sample real-world example now, and for that, let's first understand the scenario. Let's say we are implementing an accounting system, and in our case now, let's say the piece we are working on is to record travel expenses. Most expenses that people incur will have documents associated with them. These are basically proofs for those transactions in the form of receipts, invoices, etc. What we want to do here is store and view the original document in our database along with all the other details. This is one aspect of the demo. Then we want to enable some reviewing and commenting features so the accounting department can seek clarifications if it needs to, and the person who incurred the expense can reply to the questions and do all that on the document and store it in the document. This is a new feature, and we'll see how that works. So before we start, let's take a quick look at the database. It's an Access database, and it has one table which contains all the fields that we need. And the important field here for us is the expense documents, which is a blob field that will store the actual document. So this is our app for adding, editing, deleting, and interactively reviewing the document. And this is a VCL application. After having a look at this, we will see the FireMonkey app that uses our FireMonkey viewer to enable viewing of the expense transactions along with the document on any device. Then we will also see a web app to view the expenses using the Intraweb Document Viewer. Then we will see how to build a report that contains the transaction documents also shown on the report. A point to note is that all these apps will connect to the same database. The last demo is unrelated to our expense accounting app. It's on a new feature that is coming into XtremeDocumentStudio. That is to convert scanned documents and images to searchable PDFs using OCR technology. Okay, let's go to the first demo now. Let's run it straight away, and then as we go through the features of the application, I will show you how we implemented it. So we can browse our records along with the document proofs that are associated with those transactions. And how did we implement it? It's really simple. The document viewer has a data source and data field property, which we hook up to the actual data source that is linked to our table, and the field, which is the blob field which holds the document. And to implement the toolbar, we simply use the standard actions provided by the document viewer. Okay, let's switch back to the app, and I have kept one record empty. That is, there's no document set on this record. So let's select a doc binary file and set it as our document. Okay, let me select this. Although it's not connected to any transaction, it just serves as a document to show that Word documents in binary format as well can be read. So after I loaded it, my data set goes into edit mode. Now I'll post it to commit the document into the record. So now the new document is stored into the database. Okay, how did we implement the setting of the document? It's really simple. We used again a standard action, which is the open dialog. And I've used a line of code here to simply load the document into the viewer. And that also puts it in edit mode, and when we save it, it writes the contents into the field. Now let's look at the other new feature of the viewer, that is to add comments interactively. So this is a PDF specific feature. So let's go to the first document, which is a PDF. Now I right click on the page and I have a menu that gives me the option to add a note. So I will use that, and you can see the note annotation placed on the form. So we can move it around, we can place as many notes as we want, and we can type in some text in them. And you can see also in the comments pane on the left, the complete list of comments appear. So as we add new comments and reply to them, they will show up in the comments pane. And if you notice also, there's a username added to the comment. Now, I intentionally left the username blank here to show the default behavior. So if there's no username set, it picks the name from the Windows username. And if we set a user, like I'm going to do now, and add a new note, it takes it from the value that we set in the user property. So let me add a note, and let's say the accounting department is going to say can spend more on hotels next time. I doubt an accounting department is going to say that, but anyway. Okay, I can also reply to that and say thank you. But that should have been me. But anyway, I think the idea is conveyed. So how did we link up the user property? Let's see. Let me actually end this program and we'll see some of the settings we did to it. So here it is. The combo box containing the usernames was linked. The select value property was linked to the user property of the document viewer. And so when the combo box changed, the user property was set, and that was used as the username for the comments. Now let's move on to the FireMonkey DataSnap Viewer demo. Okay, some points before we have a look at the demo and run it. This document viewer makes sense only where there is a server involved to serve data or content to the mobile app. But when there is a server involved and you have a FireMonkey client, you can support viewing of PDF and Office documents and several other formats on any device that you can deploy your app to. And how does it work? I have put down some steps to make it clear. First, the XtremeDocumentStudio FireMonkey document viewer supports viewing of a list of images as a single continuous document. So if the input is a list of images in this form, then the document viewer will view them as a continuous document. And to take a document from a blob field and convert it to images and then also make this list of images or image paths, we added a helper class that we need to set up on the server side to do this work. And let's see how the code for that looks. Server methods unit. We set up the dataset, and this is how we set up the helper. So it's called the WebDB document handler server. We instantiate it. We set the dataset property to it, and we set the field that contains the blob or the actual document and where to output the URLs after converting the pages to images, where to store the URLs. We set the field where that list should be populated. And then we also set the output path for the actual images on the server. Then when the REST API is called from the client, the handler is executed and the serialization of the dataset takes place, and the dataset is pushed across with all the image paths as well. So how did we build this app? We built the server just as we build any other DataSnap REST server using the wizard provided. Then we add and configure our data access objects, and we set up the handler as I showed. And as far as the client goes, again, we started off with the wizard, creating a blank FireMonkey application, and adding connection to the REST server, built our interface, and hooked up our viewer object to the field that contains the list of images right here. So the viewer's file name property was bound to the field that contains the list of images of the converted document. So let's run this app and see how it goes. So let me first run the server. I'll start it up and let me open the browser and make sure my server method is working. It is. Now let me go back and run my client. Okay, so on my FireMonkey mobile app, I have the same data being served and also my document in the document viewer. So I can browse the records and see all the documents in the viewer. Okay, now let's turn to document viewing in web applications built using intraweb. So let me open the application, the main form, and for a second let's look at the component palette again. And you will see that there's a new component now, the intraweb document viewer, that we can use in intraweb applications to view documents in web applications. So currently the document viewer is not a data aware control. So I have loaded the document when the dataset changes or the record changes using these two lines of code. So I get the stream of the document from the blob field and then use the load from stream method on the viewer, passing the stream to load the document. That's basically it. So let's run this and see how it works. I have the server running. Let me launch the browser and we have our intraweb app. Let me turn on the dataset and I can see a document on the browser client now. So the viewer works. It's a multi-page viewer. Let me go to the last one. And here it is. Okay. Okay, we checked off another demo. What else have we got? Placing documents on reports. This has been asked a few times by our customers, and I'm glad that we have it now. The requirement is really straightforward. Let's open the report and take a look. So we have a data-driven report and we're using our DB that we used all this while. And the report has this component which is called the FR document view. And we can also see it here on the tool palette. So the FR document view is a new control added in to XtremeDocumentStudio, and it's specifically to place documents or render documents onto report pages. And this is a data aware control. So we place the control and simply set its dataset and data field properties. And that's all we need to do to show the documents inside our blob fields on the report page. Let's close the designer, run the application, preview the report, and we have the document in various formats. So the first one was a PDF, the second was a TIFF, and then was a docx file, and the next one was a doc file. So now we can have documents placed on reports. So that completes the main set of demos I had. There's one other demo of a new feature that we are working on that I would like to show. And that is to convert scanned documents or images to PDFs where the text has been OCR'd. So you can actually search and copy the text that was contained in the image. I have an XE of this, as it's a newer build than I have installed here. So let me just open the executable and run it. So it's the same demo that we have for our converter. So this feature has been integrated into the document converter as an option. So when we select an image, and I have a few sample images here, I'll select the first one, and let's also have a look at the image for a second. So this is the image. One is quite straightforward. It's much easier to OCR probably, and another one which requires more processing. Okay, I've selected the first one. Now it's going to be output to the same folder. Let me start the conversion and let's see how well the OCR goes. So this is the converted document. Now, one thing you'll notice is the image has been placed inside the PDF, and then you'll also notice that you can actually select the text that the image contains. So this is done by placing an invisible layer of text in the same place as the text on the images. So we can actually search for this, for example. So let's say OK, and you can see that it's searchable now. I can even copy the text and place it into Notepad. So I think it's pretty good conversion. Let's have a look at the other one, the more difficult document. Convert. Okay. And you will see even this is made searchable. Okay. So now in any application that we build, if we have a document archive that also contains images of scanned documents, and if we are looking for documents containing specific text, we can even search through those scanned documents and images and retrieve them. So with that, we are done with all our demos for this presentation. So here's a list of the main features of XtremeDocumentStudio and the new features highlighted. and let's take a look at the roadmap. So here's the roadmap until the end of this year. So doc and RTF support that I showed today will be fully available in the next few weeks. Report export is already available, and the interactivity features in the viewer are also available. And the other feature we saw here is of rendering documents onto reports, then the intraweb document viewer, and the OCR capability. All of that will be available in the next few weeks. And finally, the native FireMonkey document viewing for Windows, Mac, and iOS with support for the Office formats will be available towards the end of 2015. Just to clarify, the items in black are all available at this point, and the ones marked in red will be available by the end of 2015. Okay, here's how you can buy the product. You can purchase XtremeDocumentStudio separately, or you can purchase Xtreme Dev System, which includes eDoc Engine and PDF Toolkit. Xtreme Dev System especially makes sense if you have older apps to support that can't be moved to newer versions of Delphi. But for all new projects, we recommend that you start using XtremeDocumentStudio. And we're also running a prolonged special promo for both products. And of course, the products are licensed per developer, and there's no additional royalties on deployment. Here's how you can follow us and contact us. And if you access the page, www.gnostice.com/code-rage, you can access the discount links, downloads, and links to our recordings from past editions of Code Rage. It's right here. So you can access the discount links, the downloads, and past Code Rage recordings. The final important thing I need to say is thank you.
Okay, David, I just did the QR code reading on my iPhone, and it took me to the Code Rage page. So that QR code is up there on the screen. You can click on it with your favorite QR code to go to one of the links. Let me bring Girish in. Hold on just a moment. Okay, let's do this. Let's bring you in. Girish, are you there? Hello? Let's see, he's got to unmute. Oh, wait. Girish, are you there?
Oh, yes, I'm there. Sorry, I was muted.
Okay, no problem.
Hello.
Oh, am I getting the echo again? Maybe it's coming through your speakers. I'm not sure.
Okay, cut it off.
Okay. All right. So there's several questions. Patricio says, those are...
It should be good now.
Pardon?
It should be better now.
Yeah, maybe? I hear you. Yeah, great. Okay, those are electric forms or paper forms that must be digitized by your component before upload to the data. It was that came in earlier in the presentation.
Okay, so the forms that were shown were actually interactive forms. They were not they were already PDF forms which contained interactive form feeds. So the digitization actually, so that's what I showed in the end, which is the OCR technology. We're going to get to the point where we also will be digitizing paper forms and converting them to actually interactive forms.
Okay, and then I'll say showed OCR near the end. Okay. Then there were a couple of questions about, are there C++ samples for the projects?
Absolutely, yes. The ship product, including the trial, has C++ demos of most of it. Probably not for the very new features, but we will add them as well for C++.
Then Michael says, hello, there's a very good chance that I'll be buying the Gnostice software. It looks just like what I need. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. Is the FM viewer actually viewing the PDF files, or does it view the results of converting the PDF to an image?
The
form viewer.
So in the report?
Yeah.
Okay. It's rendering the documents as vectors on the report page. There are some, you might have seen a little bit of a resolution issue, a quality issue. All that is sorted out now, so it's going to be vector rendering on the report page. Is that, was that the question?
I think so. I think so. Well, I'll put that in and then it can come back again. Let's see. Is FireMonkey support available?
So we, until we have full native FireMonkey rendering, we introduced the DataSnap Viewer, which would work in a client-server situation. But we're moving really fast on that, and we should actually have FireMonkey native rendering for the Word formats in just a few weeks.
Okay. All right. Let's go on. Let's see. Can the EXP ACC demo be accomplished without the DataSnap server? Some of us only have RedStudio Professional.
So that would require rendering on the client side.
Yeah.
So that's coming in the next version. So that will be by November. Sorry, by November we should have the native rendering.
Okay. James is saying, I saw something on Gnostice website that they have improved their licensing. Can you review the changes?
Yes. So very briefly, initially we had some restrictions on what kind of applications you could build with using the product. So now there are absolutely no restrictions, which is you could actually build. So earlier we restricted applications like if you were developing, let's say, an Adobe Reader-like application. So you just simply take our viewer and make an Adobe Reader. It just takes like 5 minutes to do that. But we even don't restrict those kind of applications now. So you can do that. And there was for some time a server license, and that's also removed. So there's just developer licenses, and you can build any kind of applications with them, royalty free.
Okay.
That's especially for the Delphi products.
Is there an upgrade path from PDF Toolkit to Extreme Dev System?
Yes. We, in fact, have a 25% discount for existing customers to upgrade to Extreme Dev System.
Okay. Let's see. So it's a question. Can I pick up a PDF on Mac OS X and show it straight in a viewer control?
Right now, yes. So for Mac, we are using the native rendering, that is the libraries included in the Mac OS. So you can actually view PDFs using the FireMonkey control on Mac, on the Mac.
Okay.
So Windows FireMonkey is not complete yet.
Okay. Oh, Rob's just saying he wants to render in FireMonkey, so coming soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for Windows, yes.
Because he wants, yeah, for Windows, he then says he wants to view the PDF on an Android device.
Yes, that's going to, so that's more of a difficult one to do, but yes, we are getting there. First, we'll have Windows, Mac, iOS support for all the formats that I just showed, that is PDF and Office documents, and then we will have support for Android as well.
Okay, great. And those are all the questions right now. Girish, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we get ready for the next session?
Well, I guess the previous code rage sessions will explain some of the other features. If people haven't looked at it, that's a good place to learn more about the products. Yeah, just keep a watch on us. So we're really getting things out now.
Yeah, so for everyone, you can go to if you go to the Code Rage page where you registered and see the schedule, on the right-hand side down a little bit, we have links to all the archives of past Code Rage sessions. Mm-hmm. And Girish and Gnostice has been involved in all the Code Rage, showing how to build forms and reports, PDFs, and so on as the product has moved forward. So you can go and find all of those from the past and get up to speed to the present and into the future. It's great hearing your voice. Girish, I sent you a couple private notes. You can probably see those in the Q&A log. If you send screenshots of C++ code that's from the samples and the product, I'll lay over the C++ code on the replay video for all the people in the C++ track. That'll be great.
Sure, I'll do that.